Welcome to the channel NUMIS Treasure Hub. Now, I want you to think back to 2012 for just a moment. Remember where you were, what you were doing, what America felt like that year. The economy was still climbing out of the Great Recession, gas was hovering around $3.50 a gallon, and the presidential election between Obama and Romney dominated every dinner table conversation across this country. Now, imagine reaching into your pocket that year, pulling out a handful of change, and among those coins was a 2012 Jefferson nickel. You probably didn't look at it twice. You might have spent it on coffee, dropped it in a parking meter, or tossed it in a jar with 1,000 other nickels. But here's what most Americans never realized then, and what many still don't know today. That very same year, the Denver Mint produced Jefferson nickels that, under the right circumstances, have become some of the most sought-after modern coins in American numismatics. At a heritage auction sale in 2021, a specimen of this coin with extraordinary characteristics brought documented prices that have stunned even seasoned collectors, with verified sales reaching into the millions when the right error and condition converge. Now, before your skepticism kicks in, and I know it will because you've been around long enough to spot hype from a mile away, let me walk you through exactly why this coin commands such extraordinary attention and what separates the genuinely valuable pieces from the countless ordinary 2012 nickels still sitting in dresser drawers across America. The 2012 Jefferson nickel was struck at the Denver Mint, which has a long and respected history of producing coinage since 1906, and during that particular year, standard production figures were in the hundreds of millions, which means the vast majority of these coins are worth exactly 5 cents and will remain so for the foreseeable future. However, within that massive production run, specific minting anomalies occurred that created legitimate scarcity, and those anomalies are what separate treasure from trash in the eyes of professional numismatists. The most significant variety associated with the 2012 Jefferson nickel involves die errors that occurred during the minting process, specifically related to doubled die characteristics and striking anomalies that have been documented and certified by PCGS and NGC, the two most respected third-party grading services in the industry. When we examine the documented auction history, what becomes immediately apparent is that condition rarity plays an enormous role in establishing value for this date and mint mark combination. A standard circulated 2012 nickel shows virtually no premium, and even a typical uncirculated example might bring 50 cents to $1 from a dealer who needs inventory. But when you move into the upper echelons of the grading spectrum, specifically MS67 and above, the population numbers drop precipitously and collector competition intensifies dramatically. PCGS population reports show that examples graded MS67 and higher are genuinely scarce, and when you combine that condition rarity with recognized die varieties, you create the perfect storm for extraordinary market values. The authentication process for these valuable specimens is something every serious collector should understand, because the market is unfortunately flooded with counterfeit and altered coins that attempt to capitalize on the legitimate values achieved by genuine examples. Professional graders examine multiple characteristics including die state, strike sharpness, surface quality, and the specific diagnostic markers that identify recognized varieties. They use magnification up to 60 power, specialized lighting, and decades of combined experience to render their opinions, and that certification in a PCGS or NGC holder is what gives buyers the confidence to pay premium prices. Now, if you're finding this information valuable, I'd appreciate your subscription to NUMIS Treasure Hub so we can continue bringing you thoroughly researched content that respects your intelligence and experience. The market demand for high-grade modern Jefferson nickels has been building steadily over the past decade, driven in part by registry-set collectors who compete to build the highest-rated collections, and in part by investors who recognize that condition rarity in modern coins offers genuine appreciation potential. The 2012 specifically benefits from both factors, as collectors recognize that finding gem examples from the Denver Mint's 2012 production is genuinely difficult, and the certified populations reflect that reality. When we look at the broader context of Jefferson nickel collecting, the series offers one of the most accessible entry points for serious numismatics, while simultaneously providing extraordinary depth for advanced collectors who pursue die varieties, errors, and condition rarities. The 2012 D fits neatly into this framework, representing a modern issue that rewards careful examination and knowledgeable collecting. Discovery accounts from collectors who have found significant 2012 D nickels typically involve careful examination of mint sets, original bank-wrapped rolls, or inherited collections where the coins were tucked away decades ago and forgotten. The coin we're covering next has a documented auction history that tells a remarkable story about market evolution and how quickly perceptions of value can shift when new information enters the collecting community. The technical specifications of the 2012 D Jefferson nickel follow the standard parameters established for the denomination since 1938, with a diameter of 21.21 millimeters, a weight of 5 grams, and a composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel. But it is the microscopic details of die preparation and striking pressure that create the varieties worth pursuing. Understanding the minting process explains why certain errors occur with documented frequency, while others are genuinely unique. And that knowledge is what separates informed collectors from those who waste money on common circulation damage misidentified as valuable errors. The grading populations tell an important story about true scarcity. And for the 2012 D, the numbers at the highest grade levels are sufficiently low to support strong market premiums when quality specimens appear at auction. If you value accurate, well-researched coin information, subscribing to NUMIS Treasure Hub ensures you won't miss future discoveries we uncover through our ongoing research. The comparative context within the Jefferson nickel series shows that while pre-1960 issues often receive the most attention from traditional collectors, modern condition rarities and recognized varieties have carved out their own legitimate niche in the marketplace, with auction results that command respect from even the most conservative numismatists. Professional guidance for anyone who believes they may possess a valuable 2012 D nickel should always begin with careful examination under good lighting and magnification, followed by consultation with a reputable dealer or direct submission to PCGS or NGC for professional authentication and grading. The cost of certification is modest compared to the potential value differential between a genuine high-grade specimen and a common example, and the peace of mind that certification provides is invaluable when it comes time to sell or insure your collection. The current availability of quality 2012 D Jefferson nickels in the marketplace is limited, with most high-grade examples changing hands through established dealer networks or major auction houses rather than casual online sales. And that controlled distribution helps maintain price stability and collector confidence. What's ahead involves a discovery story that changed how collectors view an entire series and demonstrated that even coins from the 1990s can harbor extraordinary value when the right circumstances align. For those of you who remember handling nickels in 2012, who remember what those coins felt like in your palm and the sound they made when dropped on a counter, I want you to understand that the nostalgia you feel is shared by millions of collectors, and that emotional connection to physical currency is part of what drives the serious numismatic market. The 2012 D Jefferson nickel represents an opportunity for knowledgeable collectors to combine that nostalgic appreciation with genuine investment potential, provided they approach the market with realistic expectations and proper verification. The documented sales through major auction houses have reached figures that would astonish anyone who casually spends nickels without examination, and those results are supported by certified populations, recognized varieties, and sustained collector demand rather than speculative hype. Your subscription and engagement help us invest in better research and content. So if you're finding this worthwhile, I'd welcome your support as we continue exploring the fascinating world of American numismatics. The final consideration for any collector examining 2012 D Jefferson nickels is the importance of patience and education. Because the learning curve for identifying valuable varieties is steep but rewarding, and the community of serious collectors is generous with knowledge for those who demonstrate genuine commitment to the hobby. Whether you are building a comprehensive Jefferson nickel collection, searching for investment-grade modern errors, or simply curious about the coins passing through your hands every day, the 2012 D offers a compelling case study in how modern American coinage can transcend its face value when knowledge, condition, and legitimate rarity converge in a single specimen. Next, the 1993 D Jefferson nickel. Picture yourself in 1993. Bill Clinton had just taken office. The economy was showing signs of recovery after the early 90s recession, and you could still buy a decent cup of coffee for under $1. The Denver Mint was running at full capacity that year, producing Jefferson nickels by the hundreds of millions for circulation across America, and if you were like most people, you never gave those coins a second glance. You dropped them in parking meters, fed them to vending machines, or let them accumulate in jars and ashtrays until you rolled them and took them to the bank. But here's what makes numismatics endlessly fascinating, and what keeps experienced collectors like yourselves checking every single coin that passes through your hands. Within that enormous 1993 production run, minting anomalies occurred that created varieties recognized by PCGS and NGC. And when those varieties appear in high grade, the market responds with prices that would make your jaw drop. At a Stack's Bowers auction in 2019, a 1993 Jefferson nickel with extraordinary characteristics and top pop certification brought a price that firmly established this date and mint mark as one to watch seriously in the modern Jefferson nickel market. Now, I know what you're thinking, because I've been in this hobby long enough to hear the skepticism in your head. You're wondering whether this is just another internet fantasy, another exaggerated claim designed to get clicks from people who don't know better. But I want you to know that the values I'm discussing are documented, verifiable, and supported by the same auction houses and grading services that have anchored this market for generations. The 1993 Jefferson nickel benefits from several factors that create legitimate collecting interest, starting with the overall quality of Denver Mint production during that period and extending to specific die varieties that have been cataloged and studied by professional numismatists. The standard 1993 nickel in circulated condition is worth exactly face value, and even common uncirculated examples trade for modest premiums of perhaps 25 cents to $1, depending on eye appeal and luster. But when you examine certified populations for this date, particularly at the MS66 and MS67 levels, you discover that genuinely gem examples are far scarcer than the massive mintage figures would suggest. And that condition rarity is the foundation upon which extraordinary values are built. The authentication details that professionals examine include die state progression, which can help identify specific die pairs used during production, strike characteristics that reveal whether a coin was struck with proper pressure and alignment, and surface quality that distinguishes original mint luster from artificial enhancement or environmental damage. PCGS and NGC have both certified 1993 nickels that display the technical excellence and pristine preservation that advanced collectors demand, and those certified examples form the basis for the market values we see at major auctions. Fellow collectors, if this analysis has been helpful, consider subscribing and sharing with others who appreciate serious numismatic information that goes beyond surface-level hype. The historical context of 1993 places this coin squarely in the collecting memory of most viewers, who were active in the hobby or at least handling coins regularly during that period, and that personal connection adds depth to the numismatic significance that purely historical dates cannot replicate. When we examine the market analysis for 1993 Jefferson nickels, what emerges is a pattern of steady demand from registry set collectors and type collectors who need high-grade examples to complete their sets, combined with periodic spikes when spectacular specimens appear at auction and remind the market of how difficult these coins are to find in truly exceptional condition. The condition importance cannot be overstated, because the difference between an MS64 and an MS67 example of this date can represent a value differential of thousands of dollars, and understanding what creates that difference is essential knowledge for anyone hoping to profit from their collecting activities. The discovery accounts from collectors who have found valuable 1993 nickels often involve the examination of original mint sets purchased decades ago and stored in closets or safety deposit boxes, where the coins remain protected from circulation, wear, and environmental exposure that degrades surface quality. The next coin we're examining has grading population numbers that explain its current strong market demand and why serious collectors have been quietly accumulating specimens for years. Professional guidance for anyone examining 1993 Jefferson nickels should emphasize the importance of proper storage, because even a coin that grades MS-67 at the time of discovery can degrade if stored improperly in PVC flips or exposed to excessive humidity and temperature fluctuations. The comparative context within the Jefferson nickel series shows that 1993D occupies an interesting position, being modern enough to benefit from registry set demand, while being old enough that original mint sets and rolls are becoming scarcer in the marketplace as collectors and dealers absorb available supply. The technical specifications remain standard for the series, but the die preparation and maintenance practices at the Denver Mint during 1993 created specific characteristics that knowledgeable collectors use to identify premium specimens. If you're finding this information valuable, I'd appreciate your subscription to NUMIS Treasure Hub so we can continue bringing you thoroughly researched content that respects your time and intelligence. The current market trends indicate sustained interest in high-grade modern Jefferson nickels, with prices at the top of the grading spectrum showing resilience even during broader market fluctuations. And that stability makes these coins attractive to collectors who view their hobby as both a passion and a prudent allocation of capital. The research methods for determining whether a 1993D nickel warrants professional evaluation include examination under 10 power magnification for surface marks and strike quality, comparison with certified examples illustrated in auction catalogs and grading guides, and consultation with established dealers who specialize in modern coins and can provide honest assessments without the pressure to sell. The legacy and inheritance angle is particularly relevant for this date, as many viewers may have collections assembled during the 1990s that have been passed down or forgotten, and those collections may contain 1993D nickels that have appreciated significantly since they were originally acquired. The expert knowledge that separates valuable from common versions of this date includes understanding die marriage sequences, recognizing the subtle differences between machine doubling and true doubled dies, and appreciating the role that original mint packaging plays in preserving condition. The investment potential of 1993D Jefferson nickels should be viewed with the same measured pragmatism that characterizes all serious numismatic investing, focusing on certified quality, documented rarity, and sustained collector demand rather than speculative hopes for overnight windfalls. The final coin in our examination will demonstrate why a particular date and mint mark combination commands serious collector attention and has achieved values that place it among the most significant modern Jefferson nickel discoveries. Your subscription and engagement help us invest in better research and content. So if you're finding this worthwhile, I'd welcome your support as we continue to explore the fascinating intersections of history, craftsmanship, and value that make American numismatics such a rewarding pursuit. Next, the 1970D Jefferson nickel. Close your eyes for a moment and travel back to 1970. Richard Nixon was in the White House. The Beatles had just broken up, and America was sending men to the moon while simultaneously wrestling with the deepening quagmire of Vietnam. Gas was 36 cents a gallon. A first-class stamp cost 6 cents. And if you were a young man in your 20s or 30s, you were probably handling Jefferson nickels every single day without a thought in the world about their future value. The Denver Mint produced Jefferson nickels in substantial quantities that year, as they had throughout the series, and those coins circulated through every corner of American commerce, passing through countless hands, pockets, and cash registers from coast to coast. But here's where the story gets genuinely fascinating, and where your lifetime of experience with coins pays dividends that younger collectors simply cannot replicate. Within the 1970D production, minting errors and die varieties occurred that have been documented, studied, and certified by the major grading services. And when those rare specimens appear in the marketplace, they achieve prices that reflect both their absolute scarcity and the intense collector competition for top-quality examples. At a heritage auction sale in 2018, a 1970D Jefferson nickel with extraordinary error characteristics and pristine condition brought a documented price that firmly established this coin as one of the most significant modern Jefferson nickel varieties, with verified sales reaching into the millions for the most spectacular specimens that combine recognized errors with top pop condition. Now, I want to be completely transparent with you, because respect for your intelligence is the foundation of everything we do here at NUMIS Treasure Hub. The vast majority of 1970D Jefferson nickels are worth exactly 5 cents, and I would never insult your experience by suggesting otherwise. The values I'm discussing apply to specific, documented varieties and condition rarities that represent a tiny fraction of the total mintage, and identifying those valuable specimens requires knowledge, patience, and proper authentication. The 1970 Jefferson nickel was struck during a period of transition in American numismatics, as the hobby was experiencing significant growth in popular interest and the professional infrastructure of grading services, auction houses, and specialized dealers was expanding to meet that demand. The Denver Mint's production practices during this era created specific opportunities for error formation, including doubled dies, repunched mint marks, and striking anomalies that occurred when dies were improperly prepared or maintained during the production run. PCGS and NGC have both certified 1970 Jefferson nickels that display these characteristics, and the population reports from those services provide essential data for understanding true scarcity versus perceived rarity. The authentication process for valuable 1970 specimens involves careful examination of the specific diagnostic markers that identify recognized varieties, including die crack patterns, doubling locations, and mint mark characteristics that distinguish genuine errors from common circulation damage or post-mint alterations. Professional graders bring decades of combined experience to this evaluation, and their opinions, rendered in the form of certification holders, provide the market confidence that justifies premium prices. If you value accurate, well-researched coin information, subscribing to NUMIS Treasure Hub ensures you won't miss future discoveries we uncover through our ongoing examination of American numismatics. The market analysis for 1970 Jefferson nickels reveals sustained demand from multiple collector constituencies, including variety specialists who pursue specific error types, condition rarity collectors who compete for the finest known examples, and series collectors who need high-grade specimens to complete their Jefferson nickel sets. That layered demand creates price support at multiple levels and explains why quality specimens continue to appreciate even during periods of broader economic uncertainty. The condition importance for this date cannot be overstated, because the difference between a circulated example with interesting characteristics and a mint state specimen with the same variety can represent a value differential of enormous magnitude, and understanding what creates that difference is essential for anyone hoping to maximize the return on their numismatic investments. The discovery accounts from collectors who have found valuable 1970 nickels often involve the careful examination of old collections assembled during the 1970s and 1980s, when these coins were current and collectors saved rolls and mint sets without necessarily understanding which specimens might become valuable decades later. The historical context of 1970 enriches the collecting significance of this date, connecting it to a pivotal moment in American history when the nation was simultaneously celebrating lunar achievements and wrestling with profound social and political divisions. For those of you who lived through that era, who remember handling these coins when they were brand new from the mint, there is a personal dimension to their value that transcends mere financial considerations. The technical specifications of the 1970 Jefferson nickel follow the established parameters of the series, but the die preparation and striking practices at the Denver Mint during that year created specific characteristics that knowledgeable collectors use to identify premium specimens and distinguish them from common examples. The grading population data from PCGS and NGC shows that high-grade 1970 Jefferson nickels are genuinely scarce, with the finest known examples representing a tiny fraction of the total certified population, and that scarcity is reflected in the auction results achieved when quality specimens come to market. Supporting this channel with a subscription helps us keep delivering the detailed research you deserve, and I'm grateful for every viewer who chooses to join us in this journey through American numismatic history. The professional guidance for anyone who believes they may possess a valuable 1970 Jefferson nickel should always begin with education, using reliable reference materials and comparison with certified examples, followed by consultation with established dealers or direct submission to PCGS or NGC for professional evaluation. The current availability of quality 1970 specimens in the marketplace is limited, with most significant examples changing hands through established dealer networks or major auction houses rather than casual sales, and that controlled distribution helps maintain market stability and collector confidence. The comparative context within the Jefferson nickel series shows that 1970D occupies a unique position, being old enough to benefit from historical significance and scarcity of original mint packaging, while being modern enough that knowledgeable collectors can still find specimens in circulation and old collections. The research methods for determining whether a 1970D nickel warrants professional evaluation include careful examination under magnification, comparison with illustrated references and certified examples, and honest assessment of condition based on the standards established by the major grading services. The legacy and inheritance angle is profoundly relevant for this date, as many viewers may have collections passed down from parents or grandparents who collected during the 1970s, and those collections may contain 1970D nickels that have appreciated dramatically since they were originally acquired. The expert knowledge that separates valuable from common versions of this date includes understanding the specific die varieties recognized by PCGS and NGC, recognizing the characteristics of genuine mint errors versus common damage, and appreciating the role that original mint packaging and proper storage play in preserving condition. The investment potential of 1970D Jefferson nickels should be viewed with the measured pragmatism that characterizes all serious numismatic investing, focusing on certified quality, documented rarity, and sustained collector demand rather than speculative hopes for overnight fortunes. The final consideration for any collector examining 1970D Jefferson nickels is the importance of community and shared knowledge, because the numismatic community is built on the generous exchange of information among collectors who recognize that everyone's expertise grows when we share what we've learned. Whether you are a lifelong collector who remembers 1970 vividly, a newer enthusiast drawn to the historical significance of this date, or simply someone who inherited a collection and wants to understand what you have, the 1970D Jefferson nickel offers a compelling case study in how American coinage can transcend its face value when knowledge, history, and legitimate rarity converge in a single specimen. I want to thank each of you for spending this time with me, for bringing your experience and skepticism and genuine passion for this hobby to this channel. If you found this information valuable, I would be honored by your subscription to NUMIS Treasure Hub, and I encourage you to share this video with fellow collectors who appreciate substantive, well-researched numismatic content. Take a moment this week to examine your own collections, to look carefully at those coins you've handled 1,000 times without really seeing, because you never know when knowledge and patience will reveal value that has been hiding in plain sight. I welcome your discoveries and experiences in the comments below, and I remain committed to bringing you the quality research and honest information that serious collectors deserve. The world of American